I think all Newcastle fans are of the agreement that Newcastle will make changes on Sunday for the game against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Some of the fringe players coming in and the main squad given a rest after their fantastic work they've done in getting us qualified for the Champions League. It is a bit of a dead rubber. Yes, we'd still like to win the game. Of course, we would to keep the challenge on Man United for third place. But the hard work is done. We're in the Champions League. And one man will definitely not be there. And that is goalkeeper Nick Pope. And we'll talk about that shortly. Also, we'll talk about Liverpool's ridiculous complaint to the PGMOL regarding the refereeing performance against Villa. We'll have a look at some transfer news. Maddison heads that again. So we'll talk about that a bit more. Also, one player could be leaving Newcastle United in the summer. He's had interest from Europe. And could we finally have a new shirt sponsor for Newcastle United next season? Let's have a look. This is the Daily News. Hi everybody, I'm Paul. Welcome back to the Toon Review and the Daily News Show. Just before we do get started, if I can remind everybody, if they do enjoy today's show, to please hit that thumbs up button. It is very, very important to the channel that we keep those likes coming in. And of course, it keeps us in the search results, etc. for any more Newcastle United fans who are looking to subscribe to the channel. Also, if you're new, please do hit that subscribe button. It is very close to 20,000 now, and with your help, we can get there sooner rather than later. So if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload any future videos. So thank you very much in advance for that. Right, as you can see in the headline there, Nick Pope has surgery. This came out of the blue well and truly. Nobody, I think, was expecting this until he was photographed yesterday, and I believe it was Anik, with a cast on his arm, his left arm, his hand heavily bandaged and strapped up. Now, Nick Pope has come out now and explained what has gone on and why he's had this done at the time that he has. He said that it was something that needed sorting since March, on a couple of his fingers. Now, if you can remember back to March, Eddie Howe did say in a couple of his press conferences that Nick Pope was struggling a little bit with his fitness. Now, obviously, it wasn't anything to do with muscle or anything like that. That's probably what he was talking about. But Nick Pope has gone through the pain barrier for the rest of the season and made sure that Newcastle got qualified for the Champions League and has decided to have the surgery when he has, because it will give him much more recovery time before pre-season. Now, he said the operation went very, very well and he will be back for pre-season, which is great news for Newcastle United. Now, who steps in on Sunday? It's probably going to be Dubravka, let's be honest. For me, personally, I'd love to see Karius given a go. Now, the reason I want Karius to play is I think he should be thanked, really. He stepped up in the cup final. You know, out of the blue, he had to play the cup final. He did really, really well. And he's just gone back into training ever since, kept his head down, never complained. And for me, should be given that opportunity to play. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. I'd rather have him in goal than Dubravka. I know, Dubravka had all this Man United stuff earlier on in the season. I don't particularly mind if he plays. But for me, Karius deserves that start. I don't think he will. I think it will be Dubravka. But let me know what you guys think. Right, Liverpool and their ridiculous complaint to the PGMOL. It's really pissed me off, if I'm openly honest. I think, everybody's had enough of this man, Jurgen Klopp, babbling on after every single game, complaining that decisions didn't go his way. I mean, it really, they're starting to take over from Man United as the obsessed ones that are entitled to everything. It's getting beyond a joke. And the fact that practically all VAR decisions have gone Liverpool's way this season when you look back at them. Jota's ridiculous kick to the head on Oliver Skip. No sending off there. Gakpo, a few weeks before that, just falling over in the box and getting a penalty. You look back to our game, all the way back to the Anfield game, when Isak was given offside when it should have been 2-0. That game could have been dead and buried. But he was given offside for whatever reason that they went with. And now they've come out and decided that because, yes, probably, if I'm in agreement, Tyrone Mings should have been sent off. I mean, when you look at the state of Gakpo's chest, he raked his studs down his chest. It should have been a red card. But it wasn't. And then they complain about Gakpo's offside goal. Now, that reason for the offside goal was given similar to what Elliot Anderson's was against Nottingham Forest. Now, whether you agree with it or not, it was given offside, right? We've had our fair share of shite from VAR this season. And just because they have one game, and one game because they don't get enough points to qualify for the Champions League, they kick off and make a formal complaint. Now, thankfully, according to Newcastle World, this complaint is getting kicked out. It's getting just not even looked at. And rightly so. Because we are sick to death now as a footballing world listening to this man babbling on constantly at the end of games. It's got to stop. Now, God help if he was on the touchline the other day, because the fourth official would have had his head ripped off. You know, because for me, Jurgen Klopp, he doesn't learn from his mistakes. He's just an angry man. Even if he's in the stands, he's an angry man. And that proved it when he got his post-match interview. He kept on complaining and complaining. You're not entitled to anything, Liverpool. And, you know, I've seen some Liverpool fans actually say that they're embarrassed that they've made this complaint. And then I've seen some with absolute salt in their voices, salt in the fingers when they're typing, about Newcastle United getting into the Champions League and the fact that Liverpool aren't. It's over the course of a season, Liverpool have not been good enough to qualify for the Champions League. They still might if Man United bottle it. Now, for me, I don't give a toss. You know, Man United or Liverpool, I don't care. We're in the Champions League. I don't really care who else is in there. You know, I'm concentrating on Newcastle United. But what gives Liverpool the right and the absolute gall to decide to make a formal complaint when most of the VAR decisions have gone their way this season? Grow up, for Christ's sake, Klopp. Just grow the hell up. Right, let's look at some transfer news, shall we? James Maddison is again being mentioned in a lot of reports, and the Telegraph have reported that he is again the head of the queue for Newcastle United, and they may well make an early move for him as soon as the transfer window opens. Now, for me, this would be a good move, because we know in the past Newcastle United have waited quite deep into the transfer window with negotiations, etc., to get players in. Now, I'd like Newcastle United to have their squad ready to go on the first day of pre-season. Now, it's a big ask, because I know that doesn't generally happen, especially if you've got stubborn teams who are selling and they kick the heels in wanting a bit more money, which tends to be the case with Newcastle United. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. But for me, I'd love us to go in early and get our targets and done and dusted. And apparently, as the Telegraph have said, we are going in early for Maddison. He has spoken to Kieran Trippier as well. Now, look back to the World Cup. There was rumours going into the winter transfer that Wilson and Trippier, etc., had spoken to Maddison about signing. But apparently, James Maddison has approached Trippier again about signing for Newcastle United. So, listen, if anyone can do it, the captain can. Trippier is very influential on and off the pitch. And for me, I'd love to see James Maddison at Newcastle. I know he's gone off the boil a bit to the end of the season, but listen, Leicester, his teammates have down tools, and it's very difficult, you know, to stand up alone trying to fight a relegation battle. You know, there's a lot of players down tools at Leicester, and I think Maddison would be fantastic for Newcastle. Let me know if you agree in the comments. But one man that won't be coming to Newcastle is Youri Tielemans. Now, he has been mentioned a few times, certainly back in the summer last year and the winter transfer window this time around, because his contract is ending. However, it is felt that Newcastle United won't be pursuing that, and I'm pleased, because I think what we've seen from Tielemans at the back end of this season has been nothing short of shocking. He's not stood up. You know, this guy is an international experienced player who hasn't stood up for Leicester City at all in their fight against relegation. He was poor against us on Monday, quite anonymous actually, but most of the team was. They parked the bus, as we know, but he hasn't stood up and helped his team. You know, players like that should be really responding and getting them out of the trouble that they're in. And Tielemans hasn't done that for quite some time now. Now, other players linked with us. We've got Ajax midfielder Mohamed Kudus. Now, Ajax, for me, you know, we know what they're like in bringing players through the academy, or once they get to Ajax, they improve. I think Dutch football is undergoing a big a boom at the minute, because you look at the Feyenoord manager coming out this morning and saying that any links to Tottenham Hotspur, he's just dismissed out of all report. He's just said, no, it's not happening. He wants to stay at Feyenoord. They've won the league this year. He wants to take them on to the next level next season. And you can't blame him for that. You know, Tottenham, is it Levy? I suspect it is, because he's going to make promises that he can't keep or doesn't want to keep. He's very tight with his money. And look, there's a whole shit show going on at Tottenham behind the scenes. Also, Kieran Tierney. Now, Tierney has been linked many times, and there has been reports recently that negotiations have taken place and that there was a deal in place. The Telegraph are reporting that the deal isn't in place at all at the moment, but talks have taken place, but nothing is cemented yet and nothing on Tierney signing. So we just have to wait and see on that one, guys. Right, players leaving the club. Now, we haven't really... I mean, I know there's some players whose contracts are running down and will leave the club. I think that's pretty much evident for everybody to see. Now, one player that could be leaving is Javi Manquillo. Now, I think he's only played around 34 minutes of Premier League football this season, but there is interest in him from 4 countries across Europe. Now, there's no transfer fees mentioned, there's no contract mentioned or anything like that. All I'm reading is that Javi Manquillo has interest from 4 European countries. And I really do wish him well. If he was to leave in the summer, he leaves with his head held high at Newcastle United. He's done really well for us when he's needed to. And I think he's actually improved since he signed. You know, we look back at players who have just come in and, you know, done really nothing. But you look at somebody like Javi Manquillo, and for me, he's done it really, really well and improved. People might not agree. Is he as good as the likes of Trippier? Of course not. But when he needed to step up for us, I think he's done that. And again, a player that's never complained, never moaned, just got on with his job. And I'd wish him all the best and hope he does find a really good club in the summer. Finally, could we be talking about a new shirt sponsor for Newcastle United? Heavy rumours yesterday, of course, that it was going to be Saudi Arabia company Sela. Now, Sela, it's spelled S-E-L-A, whether you pronounce it that way, God only knows, everybody knows how good I am with my pronunciations of companies overseas and players overseas, but there you go. I'm going with Sela. Now, obviously, the Saudi Arabian based, there is links to PIF, obviously, with this company. I believe PIF owns some of it. However, there was questions about whether they could sponsor the shirts this season because of the link to PIF, and PIF own us. But lawyers for the club have come out and said that there shouldn't be a problem for this to go ahead. I've read a lot about what the lawyers have said. It was in the Chronicle, and it looks like there shouldn't be a problem. The lawyers have had a good look at this and explained the situation in quite some detail as to why this sponsorship should be allowed to go ahead. So is it a case that within the next week or so we find out who the new shirt sponsors are going to be? There's been a lot banded around about new shirts. I don't believe any of that, guys, and I think, you know, those of us that are wiser in the tooth now will know that, you know, we just wait for the club to announce that or Castoria to come out with whatever shirt design they're going to have. People like to make these concept ones online and suddenly they start developing a bit of traction and people think, yeah, this is going to be it. For me, I like some of them I've seen. I don't like some others that I've seen. But then again, I'm going to wait until there's an actual announcement and then we'll bring it to you about what the new strips are going to be like. But who knows? It's a very exciting summer either way you look at it, guys. But there you go. That is today's daily news. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments, as usual, what you think of all the news stories that I brought you today. And as I said at the start, if you have enjoyed this show, please do hit that thumbs up button. It is so important to the channel. And also, if you're new, come and be part of an amazing community on here. Almost at 20,000. Hit that subscribe button, free to do so. And also that notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload any videos. Keep an eye on the channel. Lots of live shows coming up. But until then, guys, I'll see you soon. Take care.
Come back and check out the breeze.